video starts out with a wonderful trip to Boston.
All right, down at Boston Harbor, and this is the Boston Tea Party Harbor. Replica on this side, and then the Boston Tea Party boat right over here on the other side. Pretty cool. Cool for sure.
So while in Boston for a leadership conference, we went to Fenway Park. It was awesome to go into the park itself, be up on the the green monster, and watch batting practice. It was kind of fun. A couple of my coworkers even kind of had one of the Royals throw a ball up to him. Then I decided to play a little bit with my camera and just try to capture from up in our seats some slow motion hits, which was pretty fun to do. And I just did this for a couple of the batters. In the end, the Royals ended up winning this game, and it was a lot of fun. Then it was back to New Jersey and the Jersey Shore, and I saw the Snooki shop from the old Jersey Shore show.
So I come out of my dad's house this morning, and I look right across the way. There's a big old deer right there, just eating away the grass. There were 3 coming across the street last night when I was pulling back in. Got another one.
So while at my dad's house, first couple of days, took him over to the doctor just for a regular visit. They wanted him to go to the ER. He ended up spending the night there. So while he was there, I decided to go ahead and do a little bit of work that he was intending to do in the next couple of weeks. This was definitely a learning experience. I've never resealed the asphalt on a driveway. So watched a couple of YouTube videos, read the instructions, and put all the material out there and started my prep work. So it went okay. A little hard to see. There's still a couple of spots that aren't completely dry. I was a little bit worried it might be stripy looking as you squeegee it back and forth. There's a couple spots where it's thicker, like right there. You can sort of see the lines where it was a little thicker in that section, but it looks like it's forming pretty evenly here. Obviously, I did it from the garage there where it's sort of 3 cars wide, and then went down here toward the road. So still not quite dry at this end. Looks good. Just don't drive on it for about 36 to 48 hours. There you go. All set. The next weekend, Dad and I decided to drive out to Sandy Hook, which is a long beach hook that kind of goes from New Jersey up to New York. It's also where Fort Hancock was. This was an amazing sort of fort. During World War II, Fort Hancock's population was over 10,000, and they said they temporarily housed dozens of wooden barracks and mess halls. More than 3,000 coast artillerymen were stationed there in New York, specifically for New York Harbor's defense, because of the way Sandy Hook kind of runs north up New Jersey toward New York City. Thousands of others passed through here for staging on their way to Europe during the war. Really kind of interesting. What's really cool about this is these gun turrets you're actually seeing. This wall housed a bunch of this thing they called the Granger disappearing gun. It was a 10-inch rifle that could strike battleships 8 miles out at sea, and it had this counterweight system that would raise and lower the gun. They say well-trained crews could actually fire off 2 rounds a minute, and it was protected by this 50 feet of earth and concrete. And in this particular case, this was a battery built in 1897. They said back then it was almost immune to the trajectory from ships, which tended to be very flat along the water. We then saw this old building, and what's really interesting is this is the Fort Hancock Officers Club. That was actually a structure that was built as the officers' quarters in what they called the Proving Grounds until that moved to Aberdeen, Maryland in 1919, and then this became the Officers Club. And here's a picture of it back in the 30s when there was actually a fire. You can see the crews fighting the fire there. Really interesting history with this. There's also a photo I found online of a New Year's Eve celebration from 1944. Pretty cool stuff. But this was just amazing to see. And it's just sort of dilapidated. Some of these things are just falling apart. So you can see they have it fenced off. The porches have, for the most part, fallen down. But as you drive around it, it's still an amazing building. Something that was built, way back in the 1890s. Sandy Hook averages probably only a quarter to a half mile wide, with some stretches maybe being a mile wide. But what an amazing place to sort of be stationed. You know, you take a look at this view. This is kind of looking back toward New Jersey. You can see in the hillside over there. So we decided to drive along, and as I did, I noticed this gun. Absolutely amazing, and it made me want to go ahead and stop for sure. This is actually a large gun that was manufactured by this Lieutenant Thomas Rodman in 1844, and the whole idea was to improve the way these things were manufactured. This gave the U.S. the largest muzzle-loading cannon ever made, with 20-inch cannonballs, and that cannon weighs 115,100 pounds. This is a place where the echoes of American military history still whisper on the breezes of the coast. We can get a little background on this. It was established in 1895, and Fort Hancock wasn't just another military installation. It was perched on the very tip of that Sandy Hook, and its guns commanded what was known as the Ambrose Channel. It was the main shipping lane into the ports of New York. And for decades, this was a critical piece of America's defense, a sign of a silent primus of protection against any threat that might come from the sea. Imagine massive coastal artillery pieces, disappearing carriages that would rise from their concrete bunkers, unleash their powerful rounds, and then vanish again by dropping down below those walls. And it was all to safeguard the nation's largest sort of metro area in New York. Through 2 world wars, Fort Hancock remained a vital post. Soldiers were trained, they stood watch, and they prepared for any eventuality. The landscape around here is now peaceful and serene and open to the public, but it once bustled with military activity. Barracks housed thousands of troops, workshops hummed with activity, and the air would have vibrated with the drills and preparations of a nation at war during the World Wars. Consider the technological advancements too that passed through these grounds, with these early breech-loading cannons to radar systems tracking distant aircraft. Fort Hancock was a living, breathing testament of America's evolving military might. It's interesting, when my dad was young and in the military, he was actually a radar operator that focused on and monitored this particular area. In a testament to its success in deterring threats in the changing global landscape, Fort Hancock was deemed no longer essential as an active military installation in 1974. All the guns fell silent, but unlike a lot of other military bases that simply faded away, Fort Hancock found a new purpose. Its location and unique natural environment led to the incorporation of Gateway National Recreational Area. This really is a beautiful place, and if you get a chance to see it, I would absolutely suggest you do. This is a place that invites us to look closer and imagine the echoed history and appreciate the sort of legacy of those who served here. Thanks, y'all. Bye now.